Namaste, Hamastu, Hatep, Hotep, Ashe, Shalom, Salam, and all the other many ways there are to say the word peace. Begin all thoughts and all actions by using the all. First of all praise is due to the Most High God. No individual should ever undergo any great or important undertaking without first invoking, evoking, or provoking the blessing from the own Supreme Being. Simply meaning, don't do anything rational without praying or meditating on it first, okay? Don't act or speak without thinking about it. With that being said, welcome back everybody to Introduction into Studying with the Trefoil Social Club. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I just got done drinking some water. So, with that being said, everyone who has watched the previous episode knows that we begin everything off with a little music. So, let's get started, you all. All right, everybody, welcome back. So, welcome back to our latest episode, our latest transmission into Introduction into Studying with the Trefoil Social Club. Okay, our last video, we did things a little bit differently because we did have a set topic. And again, today we do have another set topic. Right? Not a set topic to study, just a set topic to discuss before we get into today's study session. And that is just a few updates with what's going on with Trefoil Social Club. One, we think this is episode 17. So episode 19 will be the conclusion of this season of Introduction into Studying with the Trefoil Social Club. After episode 19, we're going to start on season 2. Season 2 might be the same title, Introduction into Studying with the Trefoil Social Club, or it might be Icebreakers with the Trefoil Social Club. Who knows? Just expect a season 2 to come after season 19. Also, after episode 19. Also, we are going to release a short film to the public, completely free of charge, after the end of this season. We're also starting up movie night with the Trefoil Social Club. We're also starting a Bible study with the Trefoil Social Club. And we're also starting up the Trefoil Savings Club. Okay? And if we're not mistaken, we have to create a different YouTube channel for each one of these organizations. Not really so much as organizations, but each one of these avenues that we plan on taking. So just stay tuned. Our next episode, we will have all the details, all the facts that you all need, and all the direction, that we plan on going with what's going on. With that being said, we don't have any set topic for today. So let's just start with okay. Today's study session, we're going to go over the introduction to the Aurora, Texas UFO incident. This is an original newspaper article describing the incident. About 6 o'clock this morning, the early risers of Aurora were astonished at the sudden appearance of the airship which has been sailing through the country. It was traveling due north and much nearer to the earth than ever before. Evidently, some of the machinery was out of order, for it was making a speed of only 10 or 12 miles an hour and gradually getting towards the earth. It sailed directly over the public square, and when it reached the north part of the town, collided with the tower of Judge Proctor's windmill and went to pieces with a terrific explosion, scattering debris over the acres of ground, wrecking the windmill and water tank, and destroying the judge's flower garden. The pilot of the ship is supposed to have been the only one on board, and while his remains are badly disfigured, enough of the original has been picked up to show that he was not an inhabitant of this world. Mr. T.J. Weems of the United States Signal Service officer at the place, an authority on astronomy, gives it as his opinion that he was a native of the planet Mars. Papers found on his person, evidently record of his travels, are written in some unknown hieroglyphics and cannot be deciphered. The ship was too badly wrecked to form any conclusion as to its construction or motive power. It was built of an unknown metal, resembling somewhat a mixture of aluminum and silver. It must have weighed several tons. The town is full of people today who are viewing the wreck and gathering specimens of the strange metal from the debris. The pilot's funeral will take place at noon tomorrow. The Aurora, Texas UFO incident reportedly occurred on April 17th. Keyword that they love to put in these articles is reportedly. And then another word is occur, because just because something occurred didn't mean that it actually took place. So when you put the words reportedly and occurred right next to each other, it creates the impression that what you're reading is not at all factual. When, according to locals, a UFO crashed on a farm near Aurora, Texas. The incident, similar to the more famous Roswell UFO incident 50 years later, is claimed to have resulted in a fatality of the pilot. The pilot was not of this world and was said to be an alien, which that means he's an extraterrestrial if he's not of this world. There's a difference. The pilot was buried at the Aurora cemetery. A stone was placed as a marker for the grave, but has since been removed. They don't say whether the stone or the marker or the stone or the grave was removed. The incident, as reported, an article in the Dallas Morning News described the UFO crash. It says, did not survive the crash and was buried with Christian rites at the nearby Aurora cemetery. Reportedly, as in, what's the word that they just used up here? Yeah, reportedly. Wreckage from the crash site was dumped into a nearby well located under the damaged windmill. While some ended up with the alien in the grave, adding to the mystery was the story of Mr. Brawley Oates, who purchased Judge Proctor's property around 1935. Before we go any further, notice that Proctor is the last name of the protagonist in the novel Crucible. Okay. Oates cleaned out the debris from the well in order to use it as a water source, but later developed an extremely severe case of arthritis, which he claimed to be a result of contaminated water from the wreckage dumped into the well. As a result, Oates sealed up the well with a concrete slab and placed an outbuilding atop the slab. According to the writing on the slab, this was done in 1940. Okay, the only thing in that we want you all to pay attention to is that this was not done until the year 1945. Okay. Investigations. In 1998, Dallas-based TV station KDFW aired a lengthy report about the Aurora incident. Reporter Richard Ray interviewed the former Fort Worth Star-Telegram reporter Jim Mars and other locals who said something crashed in Aurora. I don't know that's worth really mentioning. References: Aurora, Texas crash, part 1. A windmill demolishes it. The 1897 Aurora, Texas UFO crash. Close Encounters of a Kind. The Texas UFO, Aurora, Texas crash. The Aurora encounter. Can a space alien rest in peace? There was a film. It was a film that came out last year about this, but we didn't know anything about that. A film by Thomas Nagovin. Okay, well, we'll get back to that. How about that? While we here, let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. 1947, a United States Army Air Forces balloon crashed. But notice that it right here, it doesn't say reportedly or supposedly or occurred. That in this, whatever's going on, they saying that this seems to be exactly what happened and what took place. So we're not going to start with that, since it doesn't start off with reportedly or occurred. We're going to start off with what the newspaper article said, like we did the last one. RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. Army reveals it has flying disc found on ranch in New Mexico. Now, our question is, why is it that the first two newspaper articles says that the Air Force captures a flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region, and then it says Army reveals it has a flying disc found on ranch in New Mexico in the Roswell region? But this article starts off by saying not reportedly or supposedly or occurred. It's saying for a fact that in 1947, an Air Force balloon crashed at Roswell. But I didn't know balloons were disc shaped, me personally. If they would have said a military frisbee, it would have made a little bit more sense. On July 8th, 1947, RAAF Public Information Officer Walter Haut issued a press release stating that personnel from the field's 509th Operations Group had recovered a flying disc which had crashed on a ranch near Roswell, as described in the July 9th, 1947 edition of the Roswell Daily Record. So if very credible people with very credible credentials are saying that this is what happened and the time that it happened, because up here it's saying, one, there wasn't Wikipedia in 47, you guys. And Wikipedia has the ability to be updated and changed whenever, wherever. So whoever wrote this article not too long ago, which means that they wasn't there and they wasn't present in 1947. So that means the only people that have any credibility as to what did and did not occur was the people who were there then in 47 and who had something to say about it then, not who kept their mouth shut and waited 20 or 30 years to go by before finally opening up and saying something, because so much could have been forgotten. You see what I'm saying? But people who was there that day and the day after and the weeks ensuing, who was there making reports, those are the only people that seem to have any credibility as far as this story is concerned. Okay. We got one more right before we close out, because we're going to do a whole... Okay, let's do this thing right here. In the introduction into studying with the Trefoil Social Club, in season 1 and every season that's going to come out from this point forward, every episode, every transmission is a topic that we are making an introduction into. That these introduction episodes are for people who have never ever looked up, questioned, or researched or even heard of these things. And for the people who've never heard of any of these things, we make an introduction. We break the ice. And if after the icebreaker and after the introduction, we're still up for conversation, then we start studying. We start going into further in-depth study. You know what I mean? So every single episode, everything that we're talking about in these episodes is actually, these introduction episodes is actually episode 1 of probably a 9 to 19 part series. We're going to release a series based off of every one of these introductions. So if anything in today's episode was remotely interesting or remotely fascinating at all, just stay tuned, because we're about to do a whole series on it. And you can eat all of it as soon as that series is released, and get all your questions out, get all your questions answered then during that series. With that being said, again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to today's episode. Peace, blessings, you all. Stay tuned for our next episode, and just be careful out there.